TWM podcast.
Hello, I am Matty Deller and welcome to the Indy Wrestling Show, bringing you the world of graps that is at your very doorstep, covering all things from the UK, USA and around the world. A part of the TWM podcasts scene and platform, whatever you want to call it, available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, Podbean, TuneIn, YouTube, and wherever else you get your pods. We're brought to you in association with the Babyface app, the only app that matters when it comes to the British independent wrestling scene, available on the Apple and Google Play Store. Also, this podcast, and indeed all TWM podcasts, are brought to you by Squared Circle Box. SquaredCircleBox.com. Use the code TWM News for 10% off your first order at SquaredCircleBox.com. Joining me this week is a bit of a different lineup, if you will. Mike's off swanning around with Bret Hart on the Inside the Rope Saw, as you do, how the other half live. So joining me this week is Kyle. Hello, Kyle.
Hello. This is weird. There's normally more of us.
There is. There was meant to be more of us. At the moment, I imagine if Victoria turns up halfway through, at the moment she's missing presumed napping. So I imagine, 'cause that's what happens when you're a wrestling fan. All you do is go to wrestling and then come back tired from wrestling and then nap all of the time. So if Victoria turns up halfway through the show and you hear Victoria's dulcet tones, then she's here. If not, you've got me and Kyle covering a whole host of wrestling action. Kyle's been at some wrestles. I've watched a lot of wrestles. We've watched a lot of wrestles, and we're going to cover all of that good independent and international goodness, starting off with a little bit of New Japan. King of Pro Wrestling was this past Monday, and before the show even started, there was drama, there was intrigue, and there was a big change due to the typhoon that has really affected the Japanese region. Obviously, thoughts go out to those affected with that. New Japan were down two of their imported stars, with Zack Sabre Jr. not being able to travel there, and most importantly, Jon Moxley not being able to travel and being stripped of the IWGP United States Championship. Now, many are wondering with that and the combination of AEW. Carl, do you reckon this might be him done with New Japan?
Part of me always thought, like, going into this, that, well, it could have been his last New Japan match, regardless. And win, lose, or draw now, it doesn't matter because the title's off of him. Yeah,
Mike, well, speaking to him as we were texting back and forth watching King of Pro Wrestling this week, I was kind of like, I think he's done. He's done now. Like, I don't think he's coming back. He's got too many commitments in America now. Where Mike's like, no, we're back for Wrestle Kingdom. Because apparently Chris Jericho's back for Wrestle Kingdom as well. So maybe they do come back because it's a 2-day event. You can fit in the special guest stars. Well, in regards of, I think, being a major part of storylines and not being just a marquee, like, one-off act, I think he's done. Like, I don't think he's going to be doing any G1s again in the future or doing any kind of long roads to show loops. I imagine it'll be a Wrestle Kingdom, maybe occasionally a Dominion show, if that.
It's still possible, though.
Yeah, it's still possible. Like, it's not out of the realms of possibility, but
we don't know what was planned.
I don't know. I doubt they were going to have Juice regain the belt. We'll go into what happened earlier because they made, in my opinion, the best of a bad situation. But I thought Moxley would have retained in that match and then probably dropped it at Wrestle Kingdom. But we'll see what happens. We had El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru over Roppongi 3K. I'm going to kind of just go through these at a bit of a pace because obviously me and Mike have watched it. Carl's not had a chance to watch it. He's seen little bits and gifs, as we all have, of a certain match. So I'm just going to kind of jump through little bits of Bob. So this was Desperado's first match back since he broke his jaw.
Wasn't he meant to be in Super Juniors?
Yes, and then he broke his jaw and he was out, and Doki replaced him and has now become a permanent member of Suzuki Gun in New Japan. Despi's hench now. He is a big boy. He's going to be, because he's quite a short lad. I imagine that he's going to be fine, but he's looking very Shingo, as in like on the cusp.
We've seen it a lot with
juniorness.
Injury transformations, though. Like, people get injured and then they come back looking completely different.
Yeah, either you become hench or you grow a beard. That's usually the rule of thumb.
Or in Tommaso Ciampa's case, a lot more abs.
Or just all of the above. Desperado feigns a jaw injury because he's a shit. And then we get the usual nonsense, Pinche Loco for the win. It was an okay opener. We then had Tanahashi and Honma over Yano and Makabe. Not only is this like the fourth or fifth match in the Hiroshi Tanahashi 20th anniversary, where they're just doing this like tour of matches. Also seeing Great Bash Heel explode as Honma and Makabe are on opposite sides. We got Kakeshis, so I am happy. That's all I care about in a Honma match. As long as I see just a barrage of different Kakeshis, I am good.
I'm just happy to see Yano.
Everyone is. And Chris was working blue. I think he said balls and arse or dick, like the first 10 minutes in. High fly flow for the win, of course. Then we get Naito and Shingo over Taichi and Doki via DQ. There were some things I loved about this. I loved the start of the match. They're building up this whole Taichi Naito thing. I love Taichi holding the ropes open for Naito to get in the ring, which is like nice little manned games. And Chris, as everyone, just bloody loves Furious T ripping his pants off. Quote of the year this year was still Chris Charlton going, "The pants are off, lads!" Just the best line on commentary for in New Japan.
A lot of trouser removal from New Japan this year, especially with a card.
Yes, you can't go wrong. I think that's just on Jado and Gado's booking sheet. It's just
trousers,
good matches, compelling characters, rippable trousers. Taichi hits Shingo with a mic stand for disqualification. This was an okay match. Naito then tells Taichi to calm down, nearly Destinos him, but Taichi drops him with a powerbomb and gets a free count. And then basically Taichi talks about him being the double champion, because that's basically the storyline going into Wrestle Kingdom. Someone's ending Wrestle Kingdom as a double champion. We don't know who, because a whole bunch of people have said they want to win both that and the Intercontinental title, but someone's coming out of Wrestle Kingdom on the second day with 2 titles.
I would honestly love you to be wrong.
It might not happen, but they're hammering. They are so hammering this home.
Yeah, but we've seen enough wrestling in our lifetimes now just to be like, oh, we're making this massive point, and then it's not happening.
We then had Minoru Suzuki over Jushin Liger. Liger was in combat Liger gear, which means no bodysuit, just shorts and simple mask. And Liger, for a 50-plus-year-old man, is fucking jacked. Like, he could go for another few years. This is purely by choice rather than design.
No, the man is completely insanely in shape. When he's wearing the full-on bodysuit, you do not notice it, but Jesus Christ, how does anyone at that age look like that?
These two battered each other. It was tremendous. I loved it. They just kicked the crap out of each other. And Suzuki won pretty convincingly, as you always go out of your back with a delayed Gotch pile driver. And then we got a nice bit at the end where Suzuki picked up a chair like he was going to batter Liger, but dropped the chair and bowed to Liger as Liger bid farewell to Ryogoku for the last time. But Suzuki still managed to batter some young boys, so he got what he wanted.
It's traditional Suzuki. You know that's always going to happen.
Yeah, he's going to kick the shit out of someone who doesn't deserve it, and he's like at least 15 years younger than him. Let's talk about Will Ospreay over ELP for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Now, you've seen bits of this.
I have seen bits and pieces.
As expected, this match was tremendous.
All I'm going to say, that hidden blade elbow.
Oh, he walloped him, didn't he?
I've never seen Will aim forward with that. I normally see the back of the head, but it was just like, I'm gonna aim for your face. I hope your head survives.
Good luck, Elp. Bang. ELP being a nice boy, and I said I'd throw down that Shardon Graps match against himself must have really affected him. Made him really look
he still
inward.
Has a horrible conscience.
No, because he just raked the eyes. He's still a shit. Ospreay yeeted ELP into Gino and the third row, so then ELP yeeted a chair back into Will because there's a little issue between Gino and Will Ospreay off of a MCW show in Australia.
I was going to say, isn't Will meant to love Australians? He's best mates with Robbie Eagles.
Yeah, but he's got obviously Chaos and Bullet Club. I think Gino attacked Will Ospreay at the big show this last few weekends. I need to get to my source, Max. You've heard him before on a podcast on TWM. He goes to the Melbourne shows. I need to check what's going on there, but I feel there's a bit of afters between Gino Gambino and Will Ospreay. Will and ELP brawl on a balcony, and ELP does a new jack and dives onto Will. Wasp had the match on with the Oscar, but Ishimori pulled the ref out. I also love that ELP doesn't low blow people, he just full on just punches them in the dick.
It's a lot more full on.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to low blow you and do the arm, no, I'm going to full on fist to, like, crown of penis.
There's nothing subtle about that. It's very Johnny Cage.
It is.
Like Mortal Kombat style.
It's right in the dick, son.
Oh, God.
Love ELP's spinny neckbreaker thing off the top rope. It's really cool. And Ospreay busted out the Essex Destroyer, which I loved.
We haven't seen that for ages. I think the last time we saw that, he did it. I think,
Jimmy?
The one at Progress.
Yeah.
Like, off the stairwell.
Then Wasp, they do ELP goes for a Mega Rana, gets cut into a big power bomb. As you mentioned, Wasp kills ELP with a hidden blade and then one Stormbreaker for the win. Go and check this match out if you can. It is really, really, really good, and I like that El Phantasmo has cemented his spot as kind of a big deal in the junior heavyweight division.
He's found his place there now.
Yeah, and he's now doing junior tag league with him and Ishimori, doing his flips and stuff, which we'll kind of cover in passing here on that on the Indie Wrestling Show. And he called it the old name. Then we had a bit of this was a call down match post Wasp and ELP, where Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi was over White, Takahashi, and Kenta. I love how over Kenta is as a heel, because the crowd are legitimately pissed off that he's a bad guy. It's tremendous. And also, Kenta with blonde hair. Just love it. He looks like such a shit, and I'm all for it.
All I've seen lately of, like, Kenta is just, like, the absolute, like, shithousery. It's almost like that guy in high school that just won't leave you alone because he enjoys picking on you.
Yeah, he's become a full-on bully, and it's tremendous. The Bullet Club worked over Yoshihashi, and it all broke down. Goto pinned Yujiro. This is a cool post-down match. Ishii and Kenta have a scrap, and Jay White continues to mug Goto off when Goto's trying to square up to him. He's just going, "No, you're not in the title picture. Go away," which is really funny. The fact that he openly on camera goes, "You're not even in the fucking picture, Goto. I'm not giving you a title shot." Then we get the match which replaced Juice versus Moxley, which was Lance Archer over Juice Robinson.
Lovely surprise, to be fair.
Yeah, I wrote down how much I love Lance Archer. I wrote down Lance over Juice Robinson, because Lance Archer is fucking over to me. These guys had a really, really, really fun brawl. They had basically just a fight, and Lance Archer's getting a push. I'm happy with that. He won the match pretty convincing as well. Hit the blackout on some chairs and did the EBD claw for the win. Lance pounced Juice for a table. I think Juice might have fucked his hand up again, because Archer yeets Juice to a chair and he immediately starts grabbing his hand. I think he got his hand up at the time. But yeah, Lance Archer with a push, winning the US belt. I'm all for this, because he was one of the standout guys from the G1.
I think it's a good time for Archer as well. He's always been on the cusp of titlehood, and now he's got one.
Yeah, definitely. And then, Jesus, all the people... David Finlay returns, from years of exile / injury. He drops Lance Archer with some thunder, so maybe we're getting David Finlay against Lance Archer down the line. Maybe at Wrestle Kingdom for the US belt, we don't know.
More Americans fighting for an American belt.
Now I'm going to maybe divide the audience and maybe even annoy you, Carl, with this, because we got Kota Ibushi over Evil to keep the Wrestle Kingdom Championship rights. I wrote down, it's a usual Ibushi match, and this might be sacrilege. I'm getting bored of Ibushi's matches in New Japan.
I don't know how to feel about that, honestly, because it is samey, but the guy's good no matter what he does.
No, he's great, but the matches are literally, it's very Cena-ish. He gets battered for pretty much 80% of the match. Fiery comeback, he gets dropped on his head a few times, and then he wins with about 4 or 5 Kamigoyes in a row. It's very Okada, very Cena. Considering where he first started and when he came back for that first G1 and he was having these banging matches against Ishii and stuff, I feel like he's just kind of coasted and settled. I'm hoping we get a kind of Wrestle Kingdom will show and they'll really show out. But yeah, I feel like he's got himself in neutral in
I'm going to suggest this, like, instead. Do you feel overexposed to him? And maybe that's what it is, because...
Maybe that is it, yeah.
Because he's that guy right now. It's, like, to make a WWE comparison, it was the Daniel Bryan thing. It was up to when he won the title at Mania 30, where I was just like, I'm so here for this. He won the title, and then I was like, I kind of lost interest.
Yeah, it's kind of like, we've seen the bit now. Like, we've seen him win the G1, and now we're waiting for him to win the belt. So these kind of bits are just kind of, like, I want the story now, not the matches. The jump up Rana from him was lovely, regardless. Then we got Okada over Sonata to retain is the correct term. So retain the IWGP Heavyweight title. These two, this wasn't as good as their G1 match, but this was still tremendous. Yeah, they had a tremendous opening sequence. They went hell for leather. Okada started banging out all kinds of dropkick variations, and these guys get pacing. This kind of was slow. Well, it had a very fast start, slowed down in the middle, and then sped up at the end, and it was fantastic. The end is just delicious. They're fighting out of finishers, missing finishers, all the greatest hits. Okada obviously went to the Rainmaker. Okada and Ibushi square off, and they make it official for Wrestle Kingdom. Ibushi talks about being double champion. I said about them signposting that earlier. That's not the only match they've announced for Wrestle Kingdom, however. Two little bits to round off this kind of brief sojourn through King of Pro Wrestling. They've announced that Liger's going to team with Tatsumi Fujinami, the Great Sasuke, and Tiger Mask to take on the team of Naoki Sano, Shinjiro Otani, Tashihito Takiyawa, and Raisuke Taguchi. Just the thought of the Great Sasuke in New Japan again makes me want to watch this match and watch this match alone.
I saw that news and I was just like, Sasuke's going to be there. I want to watch.
Yeah, Sasuke's going to be there. It's going to be absolute insanity. Basically, this is Liger's greatest hit. They've got all of his kind of infamous opponents and teammates and so on and so forth. The big news, well, not really, the big rumour that's come out over the last 6 or 7 hours coming out recording. There's a big press conference. No one knows who and no one knows why, being announced for tomorrow at the time of recording. The big rumour is that New Japan might be announcing that they've bought Stardom, which would be interesting to say the very, very least. New Japan's first, I think, or far in recent memory, the first time they would be dipping into the Joshi scene in Japan. Kyle, what would you think if New Japan had bought their own women's league?
I think this has been mentioned, possibly not on podcast, but it's been mentioned to a lot of us, in many group messages. There's a lot of Japanese Joshi wrestling, and we were like, the reason why we don't think New Japan puts it on there is out of respect, because there is so much going on there. It's an entirely different competition. All the people that go, well, why does New Japan not have its own women's division? It's like they don't need to, because they've got promotions that are literally slightly smaller than New Japan that run the same events as they do and still sell it out. You don't need to. So this is when everyone, if New Japan wanted to start their own one up, it wouldn't really make any sense because they'd be competing against all these established brands. However, if they wanted to buy one to really kind of take advantage of the fact that women's wrestling is on this massive upswing on the global scene. And with this, we could even possibly see, if they have bought Stardom roster members appearing in actual New Japan shows.
We could have that. I generally think we're going to have a Stardom showcase at Wrestle Kingdom. I've had this feeling for a while. Even before this is announced, I think I mentioned it casually that I reckon we'll have some kind of women's involvement, close to 2-day event. It's going to be interesting to see what this is. The other rumour is that it's a WWE rumour that NXT have kind of partnered with Dragon Gate to do the WWE Performance Center out there. Which would be very, very weird considering Dragon Gate is kind of associated with OWE or associated with AEW and so on and so forth. It would mean...
Also, can I say something?
Yep.
About this whole thing with the possibility of the Japan stuff. it would mean that a lot of the Performance Center stuff would be branching out worldwide.
Yeah. It's weird to say the WWE thing is the outside bet on this, but it is the outside bet on this.
Especially because we've got a lot of international talent already in the US one now.
Yeah, this is true. But yeah, I'm very intrigued. Like, would they just purchase it and remain at Stardom, or would it like go All Japan and rename it New Japan Women? Would it mean that we get like these things cross over? Does this mean that Toru Yano and Session Moth Martina are in the same universe now?
Oh god, that's all I need in my life.
MLW Fusion, and we in Mexico, and I'm not gonna lie, this show, I don't know how it translated on YouTube, but I watched it on Free Sports on Monday. It was a complete mess.
No, I still got that.
Yeah, it just seemed very chopped together at the last minute, like it was
weirdly spliced, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, because it was the co-promotion they did with the Crash, and so they used a bunch of the matches on there. It just didn't really flow very well. So we opened with Selena De La Renta bumping into the Dynasty outside the arena. They were bad-mouthing Mexico, and they calmly explain, I love this, they don't understand why Selena's offended, so they're like, no, Mexico's terrible, like, do you not realise this? Selena challenged them to face Lost Parks tonight, and before MJF or Holiday could make up another excuse, Hammerstone jumps in and accepted on their behalf. I did love Selena going, are you man enough? And then Holiday's shit comeback of, well, are you woman enough? Which didn't make any sense to what they were talking about.
Not at all, but it was just hilarious to watch him try.
And then Selena confirmed everything we said about Mexico by saying, hope you don't get kidnapped. Fans of WWE 2K games will know this voice because AJ Kirsch replaced Tony Schiavone / Jim Cornette as the color commentator for MLW. I thought he did all right. He was okay.
I think he filled in quite well. I'm pretty sure he's been doing commentary on some of the indies that he works on, so it's nicer to see him have this platform. Yeah,
I think he's been doing more voice work rather than wrestling stuff. We go to Oraculo over Black Danger, the brother of Stranger. And Ricky Marvin, not related to Ricky Martin because they have different last names. This match opens with a double underhook pile driver, so I think they just started recording this mid-match.
It doesn't feel like it because I got, I think, a full version and it was a lot more flashed out.
Oh, on my one, literally, ad break, come back in, the match is literally someone getting hit with a double underhook pile driver. We then see loads of destroyers, loads of poison ranas. They talk about...
Did you get entrances?
No. Oh, we did.
On YouTube, I did. On YouTube, I got entrances.
We did. Then it cut to break, and then we got mid-match. So we missed basically the opening 5 minutes of the match then.
Oh, I got the full thing, and it was quite a lovely bit of setup. It was, Oraculo mainly getting attacked by the other two guys. But then there was a lovely moment, because you know how much I love this. Double Gado clutch.
Oh, nice.
I know, I love a pin, and the Gado clutch is one of my favourites.
Yeah, so because AJ was talking about Oraculo getting double teamed. I'm like, when? I didn't see any of this. Oraculo hits a 450 for the win. So this is what I said about it being a bit of a mess. This one literally missed out the key talking point of the match.
Watch your back, I would.
Casey Lennox talks to Brian Pillman Jr. about Austin Aries. Loki tries to give Pillman advice, saying this is not checkers, it is chess. And Brian gets annoyed and walks off.
Did you notice that weird, look to camera that Brian Pillman gave out? It was almost like he was like, oh yeah, I'm on camera.
I did not clock that. I'll have to go back.
There was a moment, he was being addressed by Loki, and his head just turns to the camera, like he almost forgot that this was being recorded.
There's a camera there? What? Dynasty then comes out of a pharmacy, and Alexander Hammerstone is very excited about his purchase, screaming that it's legal here. I can only assume that he was buying Kinder Eggs, because they're banned in America.
Oh yeah, I forgot. South of the border, isn't it?
Yeah, so...
Somebody alert James Drake quickly.
That could be the only thing they could buy over there that's illegal in the US that you can only buy in Mexico, as far as I know anyway.
I'm pretty sure there's worse, but I'm not going to say it.
Ray Horus defeated Alexander Hammerstone. I was trying to think of a joke about Mexican drug cartel, but I couldn't think of anything. Make up your own one at home. Ray Horus over Alexander Hammerstone via DQ because it was a title for title match, so of course it ended in a non-finish. When does a title for title match ever end in a decisive win?
Seth Rollins, John Cena. Countered.
Damn you with your lawyer. Hammerstone tells the Dynasty to go backstage, and Hammerstone overpowers Ray Horus to open and works the arm. Very nice pump handle suplex. As I'm now reminded of Carl texting me earlier saying Alexander Hammerstone looks like Jake Christ but 3 times the size.
No, genuinely, I looked at him because I don't watch MLW as regularly as the rest of you do, and all I saw when I looked at him was.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're really, really not wrong. Like, I now can't unsee it. Horus fights out of a suplex, hits a big forearm. Horus fights back with a big kick and a low bridge, and then catches him with a big tope. Ray Horus runs wild, crossbody, leg drop for a near fall. Hammerstone then crotches Horus and yeets him off the top rope. And a big boot, a German, and a powerbomb combo for Hammerstone for a near fall. Horus then hits a big springboard DDT. We get a ref bump. Hammerstone hits a burning hammer. Visual pin. Ray! Hammerstone hits Ray Horus with a chair for a near fall. Horus then counters a powerbomb into a code red for a near fall. Horus, it's a 450, but Dynasty interfere for a DQ. This is a pretty good match.
I think my favourite part of that, it was just be like, oh yeah, after the burning hammer, he was like, oh wait, the ref's not counting. What else can I do? I'm going to hit you with a chair.
Sia then starts talking about wanting her baby back, the MLW title, until Joseph Samael interrupts and basically does a pitch to either join Contra or accept violence. Selena chooses violence, and because violence was mentioned, Jimmy Havoc appears. Try it at home. If you mention violence, Jimmy Havoc will be there within 30 minutes.
Just don't do it 3 times in front of a mirror.
No, because he will be there even quicker, and he will Rainmaker you. He makes a Tijuana street fight because he wants blood, and then he goes, oh, one thing to say to you, want a beer? And then just walks off because it's Jimmy Havoc.
No, genuinely, you can't expect a Jimmy Havoc appearance without the influx of an alcoholic beverage being mentioned.
Yes. Then we get to the main event of this show that flew by, mainly because it was just cut to shit and didn't really flow.
I watched it on YouTube and I think it was like roughly 10 minutes.
What, the whole thing? Or just...
with entrances, I think.
I was about 11, 12 on this. I know it did cut to break halfway through. Dynasty over Lost Park. They cut a Trump promo, and then Lost Park swear in Spanish. I don't understand why on an English broadcast feed you'd have to bleep Spanish swear words.
Mexico.
No, but what, like, I've seen it before where Tajiri cut a promo and they bleep Japanese swear words. I'm like, there's a very small market share that's going to hear that.
Yeah, but you don't know who's going to be listening.
Really conservative Spanish people. Dynasty run away to start, and then Holiday takes control until he drops on a backdrop and El Hijo takes control. By the way, it's El Hijo de LA Park and LA Park Jr., not LA Park, for those scoring at home.
Not gonna lie, I was confused by that for the whole thing.
A lot of skeletons. Just a lot of skeletons.
Spoopy scary. We are in the right month for it.
Yep, we are. It's officially Spoopy month. MJF keeps drawing in El Hijo, so they work over Park Jr. This was all basically moves, and then MJF just mocking the crowd. I did like the Dynasty doing the Jimmy Del Rey jiggle, which was funny. And then it kind of just went a bit mad. I lost interest. Eho's hit a G9 to take over. They hit a few dives, and then Dynasty hit a powerbomb for the win. Yeah, I was not a big fan of this episode. There were some good bits. My mind's gone blank on what it was. Was it the Hammerstone match? Yeah, Hammerstone Horus match was very good. The first match was just all over the place. The main event was decent, but yeah, just seemed a bit of a mishmash. It was a
weird one. Just didn't feel as organised as previous episodes.
Yes. Impact starts with the recap of last week's shenanigans, and then we open up with Ace Austin over Eddie Edwards to get into that X Division title ladder match thing for this Sunday. Ace Austin's t-shirt is amazing, where it says Ace Austin 369, and on the back it says I just banged your wife.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about that. I saw the footage of that like before I watched the episode.
Did you see the part? Did you see the part where he pashes with the fan?
Oh yeah, I saw that as well. And then it's just like the face that Eddie Edwards makes. I was like, Eddie, this one's not the one you're married to.
How dare you kiss this person? This is an innocent person, Eddie. She has nothing to do with you. Yeah. Also, Brit Rest, just in a nutshell there. Eddie gets the jump on Ace, plunges to the outside. I'm surprised that didn't make you laugh, Kyle.
I'm holding it in. Yeah. I genuinely am holding it in.
I did that purely to pop you. Plancher to the outside to get in control. Ace gets in control with some kicks and then passes the fan again. Brit Rest. Eddie...
There you go.
Good, my work here is done. Eddie crotches Ace, hits some chops and boots to the outside, and then Ace yeets Eddie in the face with a drink to stop his momentum. Eddie hits a clothesline and runs wild. He goes up, and he gets rocks with a kick, and Eddie crotches him. And my God, why is there a giant furry thing in the crowd? Genuinely, during this match, I just randomly saw there's just like a random like furry mascot just sitting in the crowd.
Thank God you continued. I genuinely thought you were just going to say there was a random furry.
It could have been the guy
It could have possibly been a furry.
It could have been
where was Impact taped? Like
Las Vegas.
Yeah, it could have been a furry.
It could be the ICP guy's daughter that is a furry, and then he went on the internet to complain about the quality of a furry costume she ordered. That is a
We're
thing.
thinking about this in too much detail.
I know. It generally just bothered me. It's like the robot in the Fox War Room at the draft. Just generally just threw me off the entire week. Eddie hits a big top rope back suplex, but then Reno Scum come down to ringside, and their distraction leads Ace to take over with some big kicks for 2 near falls. He misses a senton. Eddie hits Boston Knee Party, but the Scum pulled the ref out. Eddie then dives on the Scum and finds Kenny under a table and wastes them. Distraction leads to a leg trip and a near fall for Ace. But then Reno Scum hands Ace some metal and he puts it into his braced arm and back fists Eddie for the win. Ace Austin literally had an ace up his sleeve.
Ace Austin is fucking sensational, and I will say that now. Since he's been in Impact, almost everything he's done, I have found incredibly captivating, and I've honestly been rooting for him to become X Division champ almost since day one. So for this to happen, I'm really excited for it.
What I love about this is we're seeing character development from Ace Austin.
Impact hasn't had a lot of over the last couple of years.
It's like they're very good. Like since Callis come in, they're very good at developing characters, and now Ace has a character of being this like sleazy scumbag magician, and it really, really works. It's really brought out the best in Ace Austin, and it's really, really good to see. Reno Scum,
especially with like the hair dye, like now as well. The haircut kind of adds to it.
Yeah, it makes him look really skeezy, so I'm all for it. Reno Scum take out Eddie post match, and they celebrate with Ace Austin. Taya tries maths and then bumps.
Steiner maths?
Not that good. Bumps into Rosemary, who was told there was lasers outside the cave, so she stood near the cave and waited for Rosemary to arrive. There's a problem because Taya needs Rosemary, but Rosemary just goes, "No, I'd rather see you get murdered by Havoc, it's fine." We then get Desi Hit Squad over the Rascals, and Josh Matthews says that Mahabali Shira went back to India. That's funny, Orlando's not in India. So
I was going to say that's a very fitting thing, but it makes sense. When they had that, he did wrestle for Ring Car King, so maybe he's just been in India for the last 8 years.
Just been there the entire time. I miss Ring King. Ring King was sick. Yeah, Deadly Hit Squad beat the Rascals. I wrote down, "This is a travesty." Just the worst thing ever.
Probably is.
Desi get the jump on Trey. Flippies. They take back over and they cut off the ring. And because Raj feigned an injury, we get a miscue, and then Trey does the thing where he makes one DDT the other via a neck breaker. Wentz hot tag, he runs wild. The Rascals do all these double team moves. They go for dives, but then Shira yeets Des and Wentz into the steps. Trey hits a middle rope tornado senton. Shira gets in, shrugs off a super kick, yeets Wentz at Rascals, does the world's strongest slam, and then drags Raj on top of Wentz for the win because life is unfair. We found out that the Rascals will face Dr. Wagner, Tarus, and Aerostar at Bound for Glory, and that will slap.
It will, but it's come through really weird things because the Rascals clearly lost that match. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey guys, here's a consolation prize, which is probably the best fucking thing that could have happened. Yeah,
it's weird. You thought you'd have them win and get momentum over that because they've been doing this thing of Dr. Wagner being like, I want to face 3 of your best wrestlers, and they've given them the Rascals. And it's just, yeah, really strange.
Surely you would have given them the Desi Hit Squad in that case, but Rascals probably is the best stage because trios.
Katie Forbes then throws her keys at a clearly in gear Jordan Grace, the Parko car, so we can immediately assume that Katie Forbes is an idiot. Jordan says she'll kick her ass, so Katie just twerks at her because...
Ass.
Yeah, literally, cause ass. Tenille Dashwood comes down for commentary. I wrote down, this will go well. I don't know why I was that mean about Tenille, if I'm honest.
Don't you just, want... We've got enough, Australian accents with, Mr. Juicy, Gino Gambino. Don't you want another one on commentary?
A little bit of the Gino has his very important commentator voice, where he puts a voice on. Whereas Tenille is just very she does talk, but...
She's laid back.
Yeah, she's very Australian. Jessica Havoc over Taya via disqualification for Taya to retain the KO title. Taya tries to run away, but then Havoc just gets hold of her and just yeets her around, and it's a big splash. Taya takes control with big kicks and stomps, and then Tenille just grabs the belt off commentary and says she does what she wants, and I was like, she's a face, right?
She does what she wants.
I know, but she's a face.
She does what she wants. That's all you need. That's the fairest argument. Just yell you do what you want and do it.
You're not my real dad. I do what I want. Big knee for a near fall. Havoc takes control with a pair of backbreakers. And then what I love about it is she puts Taya on top rope and Taya sneaks down the ring post and just holds on.
So Taya is now a sloth.
Yeah, she pretty much is. Somewhere Candy Floss is raging. She pulls Havoc in into double stomp. Havoc clothesline, chokeslam, but Bravo pulls the ref out and shoves him to get Taya disqualified on purpose. Havoc then batters Johnny Bravo. It's a chokeslam. Taya hits Havoc with a title. Tenille then attacks Taya from behind, again, face, and hits the TOT, and Taya bails.
Genuinely, I have no idea, where the hell they're going with this before Bound for Glory.
It's Tenille. I generally think what they're doing with this is they're quickly wrapping up some stories so they have... so they can just do hard reset for the Access debut next week.
But looking at it, it feels rushed, and it shouldn't.
Yeah. Luckily, this is not the go-home show. They've got one more show left, which we will cover. I'll talk about that. But actually, I need to say, this is the last time we're going to cover Impact on that indie wrestling show, because when it moves to Access, it's moving to Fridays with Best of the Rest, because it's really hard for us to watch it 24 hours removed. So it's going to be on Fridays on Best of the Rest with NXT UK and Total Divas, because variety. Also, it's on a major TV network now. It's not really an indie anymore. It's back to being Impact. OVE, they play SJW because they say they're triggered by Brian Cage's actions. He puts the blame on Cage for Santos being hit with a bottle, and they hype the tag match main event tonight. Gabby backstage talks to Conan about the North, and they just play dumb. And then Swan and Mac interrupt to talk about their tag match. North tries to stir the pot, but then Rhino and RVD interrupt, and this was brilliant. Because Rhino cuts a promo on Rich Swann, and then goes, and you guys, pointing to the North, and the North have already just left. Just really funny. Then we get Stephen Bonner over Moose via DQ. Second DQ match in a row, just sloppy. They graps to open, Moose goes outside to take a breather, but then catches Moose to take control. Moose takes over. But Bonner hits a nice spin kick and a belly to belly. Moose catches Bonner in the eyes, and then Bonner's bleeding out of his eye for ages. Bonner hits a spine buster, goes up the top rope because, MMA superstar, well known for his top rope maneuvers, but then Moose throws the ref into the ropes for second DQ in a row, which was really, really sloppy. Moose beats down Bonner, goes for a chair, until Ken Shamrock makes the save to literally no reaction. Zero.
There's not much of one anymore.
Belly to belly ankle lock, and then Frank Trigg, this supposed UFC Hall of Famer badass guy, tries to make the save, but Bonner points at him and Trigg just politely just sits back down in the commentary booth. He is the fucking drizzliest of drizzling shits is Frank Trigg. Why did they bring him back?
Honestly, at that point it's hey guys, thanks for trying.
I feel like you mentally checked out during the Moose match.
I just tend to zone out during this whole Moose feud. I really just want Shamrock to be him, just because I'm fed up almost. It's like what you said earlier. This very, very samey, no improvement.
Yeah. Jordan Grace over Katie Forbes. Graps with push-ups. Graps with twerking. Grace hits a nice drop kick. But he gets caught on a dive of the forearm, and then Katie Forbes takes control with foot chokes and shoulder blocks. Katie Forbes is okay. She's a decent wrestler. It would be...
She's got a great entrance. Most people are probably going to be checking her out mainly because of that entrance alone.
Yes, the twerking. All of the twerking.
It's somewhat iconic.
And she also has the shooter gun thingies.
Oh, yeah, she's got the, money gun.
Yeah. She has a handspring elbow, goes for a stink face, and then Jordynne Grace wedgies her, which was funny. Throws her into the ring post. Big knees, uppercut in the corner, Vader bomb for a near fall. Forbes hits a nice tornado DDT for a near fall. Forbes squats Grace, forearm, Grace driver for the win. It was passable. Then we go backstage, and Johnny Swinger tries to give Katie Forbes advice, and Katie Forbes turns around and goes, "You know I date RVD, right?" Which generally was quite funny. Then he offers her swinging, and she walks away. He tries it with Jordynne Grace and immediately gets shut down because it's Jordynne Grace. Backstage, Darga tells Tessa that she doesn't need her help. You did. And Tessa says OVE is her battle, and they'll be against each other at Bound for Glory. Backstage again, TJP hypes up Falabar ahead of his match against Michael Elgin next week, so there's your main event-ish for the Go Home show. Then we get Tessa Blanchard and Darga over Jake Crist and Fulton. This was a pretty good match and a nice way to build up Tessa heading into Bound for Glory. Also, she didn't look strong going into the week of the pay-per-view, so therefore that she has not got the curse of looking strong going into the pay-per-view.
It's probably a good thing for that.
Yeah, because I think she's winning the X Division title. Jake slaps Darga, which was just an error. And then Jake asks Darga attacking Tessa, so Jake immediately tags in Fulton. And then we get a lovely full shot, full camera, Tessa's face as she's just turning around to Jake and going, "You're such a pussy," which genuinely is really funny.
I really, really love the fact that Tessa Blanchard is getting so much focus now that we genuinely have the entire match stop momentarily, just so that way she can trash talk and it gets such a fucking pop. It's
brilliant. I love it. The fact it's just mouthing, "You're such a pussy." It's so good. Fulton tries to keep hold of Tessa, but she then dives into Jake, and then hangmans Fulton, and Darga and Tessa clothesline Fulton out of the ring. Darga goes for a plancher, but then Fulton posts him and slams him into the ropes, and then does a very nice inverted slingshot move, which was quite cool. OVE work over Darga as Dave distracts Tessa. Darga then fights out a powerbomb, hits a cutter. Tessa hot tag, runs wild. Darga and Tessa send Fulton outside with a big Rana. Darga hits a tornado on him, and Tessa hits Magnum on Jake for the win, so she's got the win over the X Division champion.
Momentum.
Also, Josh with the comm swerve when Tessa hits Magnum, because he realises he's about to fuck up and then manages to swerve out of the way. Because Tessa hits it, and he goes, "If Tessa hits Magnum and she climbs the ladder, she'll win at Bound for Glory." I was like...
Genuinely, I heard that, and it was like the biggest lol duh moment ever.
It was like, good save, Josh. Fulton then batters Tessa and Darga post-match, and Brian Cage arrives in the building. Cage asks where Sammy is. Des then screams and just goes, "I don't know, man." It's like, don't ask the stoners for the intelligence first. Find someone else.
Literally hits blunt.
Nice. Cage comes out and wastes OVE. Sammy twats Cage with a chair, but he just straight up no-sells it. OVE then Gulliver's Travels Cage, and Sammy dick kicks it. Dick kick squared, hits him twice. As Jake
right in the dick, son.
Screams the immortal line, "He got him right in the ding-ding."
No cock drops on the guardrail, though. Disappointed.
No, it was just right in the ding-ding this time. They OVE cuffs Cage to the ring rope, and they get the bat. Santos, inexplicably in gym gear, comes out and puts herself in front of Cage. Sammy grabs Santos and pile drives her and makes Cage watch. It was a really good ending. Like, they are really ramping this main event up. It's making it feel like a really big, heated blood feud, and I liked this. I liked the way the show ended.
Yeah, but looking at it now, Melissa Santos has to get involved in this title match at Bound for Glory. That's the only way they can do this.
Yeah,
now.
I feel like she's going to whack Cage and whack... or maybe she's going to go for Sammy with the bat
hit Cage.
And accidentally hit Cage and cost him the belt, yeah.
Yeah, because this whole thing started from Cage ducking and her getting hit, so maybe it will be the opposite way around, leading to Sammy's victory, which means the Cage family really, really might need Dr. Phil.
I would love if they went straight to Dr. Phil. "My wife cost me my championship." And if you're wondering, hey, where's our Bound for Glory preview? Do not worry. There's going to be a special Bound for Glory preview podcast out on Sunday. That's right. You're getting 7 podcasts a week this week instead of the usual 6. Me and Mike are going to be covering a Bound for Glory 2019. And you're going to hear exclusive interviews with two people in the main event, the Impact World Champion Brian Cage and Sami Callihan. In addition to that, in association with our friends at Fight TV, we're going to give one of you a free chance to watch Bound for Glory for free, give you a free pass to watch Bound for Glory 2019. Keep an eye out on our social medias at TWM Wrestle. Just would like to let you know that indie wrestling show is brought to you in association with the Babyface app, available on the Google Store and the Apple Store. Now, what is the Babyface app? Well, if you're a British wrestling fan, it is the only thing that matters. Want to check out what the latest shows are in your area? The Babyface app can do that. Want to check out the win-loss record for your favourite wrestler at the moment? The Babyface app can do that. Do you want to bring back the glory that was the Origin Banter Edition? Sadly, Babyface haven't got that kind of sorted out yet. Imagine it's in the beta stage, I can be assured. But if you want to check out any of their matches from Progress or anywhere else past, you can check it out at the Babyface app. Also, you can read loads of articles from loads of esteemed wrestling personnel, including ourselves, TWM. You can check out all of our BritRest articles in one easy place. That is the Babyface app on the Google Play Store and Apple Store. This podcast, and indeed all TWM podcasts, are brought to you by SquaredCircleBox.com, the only place for your monthly wrestling box needs. With things from superstars from WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, British Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, and loads more, it is the only place that matters if you want to get the best wrestling swag for a low, low price. That low, low price is just £25, people. What a bargain! And you can get snapbacks, t-shirts, magazines, DVDs, trinkets, whatchamacallit, doodads, you name it, they have it each and every month. And just because you listen to TWM, you sexy, sexy people, you get 10% off your first order. All you got to do is use the code TWM News in the checkout. Just use the code TWM News in the checkout for 10% off your first order at SquaredCircleBox.com.
Why not spread? I said, why not spread the gospel of the TWM squad with some of our lovely merch over at Teespring? We have t-shirts for all shapes and sizes, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and loads more. Also, just for listening to this podcast, you can get 10% off your order. I said using the code podcast. That's podcast. Once again, podcast in the checkout for 10% off at teespring.com/stores/TWM-wrestling-merch. That's right. Praise. Testify.
We're going to talk about a brand new show now. NWA Powerrr. Episode 1 was last week, but we had to record a day early because of attack, so we never really got a chance to watch that one, so we're just going through episode 2. So the countdown for this one, they have a little countdown for it starts at 11:05 or 6:05 for in the US, and it was just screenshots of people putting the NWA over. So like several WWE people and The Rock as well. They've had loads of shots of that there.
I'm not gonna lie, I skipped through it.
I watched it live, so I had no choice. So we get a recap of last week's episode, and then we get the theme song, which everyone agree fucking slaps.
It bangs. It genuinely bangs.
It's really, really good. We open with Dave Marquez, who introduces... But actually, first of all, the aesthetic, how the show looks. What do you think?
Bright. Kind of slightly still indie. I like it. It's
really cool, because I live tweeted yesterday, I was like, it looks retro, but it still has that modern feel.
Do you know what it felt like to me? Like, as if Saved by the Bell was set in 2000s.
Nice. An interesting dynamic. And then Dave Marquez introduces Aaron Stevens.
Yay!
So Damien Sandow.
Film star now.
Yeah, and I love that he starts off being kind of like he's like a face, and then immediately just goes straight back into being a heel. And basically, because the way he's dressed, he looks like an actor, like a B-movie actor.
Clearly, hanging out with the Miz like rubbed off on him like all these years. He's like, I'm going to star in my own movies. And Marine, no.
And he's like, I love the when everyone boos him. He's like, no, I'm a serious thespian. How dare you?
Oh no, it's just the fact that with the crowd interaction, because of like how intimate the setting is.
Yeah.
Any single thing like that you yell, no matter probably how quiet it is, could probably be picked up.
Whoever shouted out, "That's what she said," really quiet, made me laugh as well. And he demanded no eye contact, which was brilliant. And then it's just, yeah, I'm so into this character of him just being whereas Miz is like an over-the-top Hollywood actor, he's a legitimate douchey actor that's not even done any massive roles. So it's going to be really, really good.
It's very much like, I want to say, I know I've already like mentioned this like already on this podcast. It's Johnny Cage, where it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, you just hate them because of how they are.
Yeah. One problem is the NWA talk way too much about real men. It's like, we are real men.
Women's match on this show.
I know, but they could go, like, this is a place where men wrestle. And I'm like, yeah, you calm down, mate. Ricky Starks over Trevor Murdoch. I like Ricky Starks. He's very, very good.
I was really happy to actually see him on this because I feel we got to see Extra Talented when they were in the UK a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Was it a couple of years ago? It might have been last year. I don't even
Last year or the year
anymore.
before, yeah. And I wanted more of them because they were a very, very good tag team.
Yeah, but to me, like, Ricky Starks, like, could have been that guy to break out in singles, like, in general, because in the matches that I saw him, not only was he a great wrestler, but it's very much the Dan Maloney thing that we've talked about before. He's also hilarious.
Oh, yeah, and he had a really, really good promo post-match. We'll talk about that in a minute. He wrestles Trevor Murdoch and beats him. How random. So random.
It's just really weird to see Trevor Murdoch, because it's been like...
He's not been wrestling. They said like...
It's been like 10 years, I think.
Yeah,
like,
semi-retired. They exchange hip tosses and chops, and then Murdoch takes control of a big boot. Murdoch misses a middle rope leg drop and gets a big kick for a near fall. Stark then hits a middle rope drop kick, gets a near fall. Murdoch counters a tornado DT and fights back, but then out of nowhere, Stark counters a right hand into a crucifix for the most 1980s of studio wrestling victories. Dave Marquez then interviews Ricky Starks post-match, and after that, Murdoch shakes his hand, and he says he wants to take titles and take things up to another level. He says the ladies call him Stroke Daddy. I don't know what that means. And he says he knows he's sexy, and he counts money. He's a pretty good promo. I think he's going to be a big deal in this. Breaking news. NWA commentator Joe Galli doesn't believe in clickbait, so therefore he is TWM's guy.
He's on our side.
We are behind him.
And in front of him.
And on the side. Colt Cabana...
Directions.
We are also perpendicular. He cuts a promo saying he's fighting fit and has a tag partner and he's seemingly out of Ring of Honor, I'm guessing. Now he's in the NWA. He's tagging with Mr. Anderson, who looks really old.
I think it's for Peroxide. He's still dyeing his hair blonde like it's 2007.
And Cabana doesn't get the microphone thing, which made me very, very laugh when he went, Mr. Cabana, and Mr. Anderson.
The best part of that was, like, Ken Anderson doing the whole thing and then Colt yelling Cabana straight after.
Brilliant. Anderson, Cabana, and then Ken looking genuinely annoyed.
It was like, no, that's my thing. How dare you?
We then get Cabana and Anderson over Sal Renaro and Jordan Kingsley, which made me laugh because they said Sal Renaro was a youngster. And I'm like, mate, he's been wrestling in Ring of Honor for fucking years. Like 2003, he was in Ring of Honor at this point. Cabana makes a mockery of Sal, and then Kingsley hits a stiff Pele kick on Anderson. He gets rocked with a huge lariat. Cabana and Anderson work him over. Pair of Finley rolls. Cabana flying apple. Mic check for the win. Yeah, pretty good. I like that.
But we know that this was to set up Colt and Anderson as a team in the future.
Yeah,
we know it was all for that.
Earlier today, we had Nick Aldis being not happy about the interview he did later on. Ooh, intrigue. I want to talk about this now. Did you watch the mental the adverts they have in between the Austin Idol wrestling school?
The Austin Idol one, like, I was just like, I don't get it. And then the first one, I don't think I properly clued in, but then when the Austin Idol one happened, I was like... Because
the Austin Idol one's a legitimate advert. I don't know if the other one is tire irons and waffles. I don't get it. It's really strange.
It genuinely feels like we've gone complete, like, workout video, though, halfway through.
Yeah.
We have dipped into a very, very, like, niche TV show.
If they are, like, proper doing Adult Swim taking the piss at the fact that how retro and 80s it is, I like that a lot. We get a recap of the Outlaws Inc. confronting the Wildcards, and NWA do things right because they gave Kingston a microphone and let him shout into the camera. So, all for it.
I'm gutted nobody yelled Yonkers.
Give it time, it might happen. Allysin Kay over Ashley Vox. Vox, these are two really, really good female wrestlers they have in their women's division. And if you watch the opening video thing at the top of the show, you can see they've got a bunch of other things. I think Melina was there.
Yeah, Melina is actually there. Thunder Rosa is as well, apparently.
Yeah, which is awesome. Vox outquicks Kay to open, but then Allysin Kay takes over a big slam. I love Allysin Kay. Allysin Kay is the fucking bollocks. She's so good.
I think she's phenomenal, and I'm glad to see her getting another platform.
Big fall-away slam. Vox fight backs with chops, but then counters a wheelbarrow into a suplex. Does Allysin Kay for a near fall. Vox hits a John Woo. Head scissors, cannonball for a near fall. Ashley Vox goes for the fish on the hook, but then she counters it into a teabag driver for the win. Dave Marquez then talks to Allysin Kay about the women's division and then puts over Ashley Vox, which was nice.
I think my favourite part of that was, though, she's still put over Ashley, but she still did it in, like, the cynical way of just going to be like, you're not, like, ready yet for my title.
You're good, but you're not as good as me.
Yeah.
Which is really, really good. We get a recap of Storm and Aldis' conclusion from last week, and Carl Davis tries to talk to Tim Storm, but he has no comment. Joe Galley then talks to James Storm, and he says the national championship is all about getting the NWA title, and he's a man! And I forget how much James Storm is a hell of a promo. He's such a good promo guy. Eli Drake interrupts and tells him if he wins the NWA title to not forget about him. They've got a very good, strong set of wrestlers that can talk.
It's fleshed out, like, with... You've got the, like, wrestlers who wrestle, then you've got the promo guys, but the majority, like, mixed. You've got the people who can back it up in both. Yeah,
because I remember we're going to talk about him towards the end of the show. When we're watching this, Vic, when she wasn't napping, or wherever she may be, she was talking about how much she loves Nick Aldis now. Like, how good of a promo and how good he is. Like, he's tremendous as the NWA World Champion.
But he's been killing the promo game for a long time.
Like, he's been given the platform and he's very, very good. We get an NWA World Tag Team title match. The Outlaw Inc. over the Wildcards goes to a no contest. Now, we got Latimer and Kingston brawl to open. Kingston misses a back fist, then Latimer and Isaacs work over Homicide. I do love that Eddie Kingston and Homicide, you wouldn't think they'd be Jim Cornette guys, but they really are Jim Cornette guys. Cornette loves Homicide.
That sounds incredibly dangerous out of context, but it's the weirdest thing, just like seeing Homicide and Eddie Kingston in the NWA.
Yeah, it's really, really strange.
Where you can't really do murders.
But then again, like, Jim Cornette fucking loves New Jack.
So maybe you can do murders.
Yeah, like, I think he loves having, like, the team from the inner city team. It's really, really cool. Kingston did a big old swear, and the bleep was so powerful it led to Homicide crotching Isaacs. Kingston gets a hot tag and runs wild, but then those damn Dawsons come in and attack Outlaw Inc. for the DQ. Boo, because you should give Homicide and Eddie Kingston all of the belts at all times. We then get to the final bit of the show where Joe Galley, the seasoned interviewer and legitimate broadcast journalist, talks to
Emmy award winning,
talks to the NWA champion Nick Aldis and Camille. Aldis gets upset.
Or so we thought.
Or so we thought, yes, because Aldis gets upset at Joe's questioning, and then he says, the reason I have Camille is I once lost the NWA title to an inferior athlete. And I just went, lol, no.
Did they not sign you, Nick? Are you okay?
do you need a hug, Nicholas? So he got back up, and then Camille's given a chance to say something. She checks her microphone and says nothing to close. I was preaching to the choir about how good NWA Powerrr is. Which is a really fun, really quick hour-long show. Does not feel like an hour. So what did you think overall?
Genuinely, when I watched it, I was like, I'm enjoying this. And then before I'd even realised it, it was halfway through, because I was watching it like through my TV, like on YouTube, and I just like pressed a button and I was like, holy crap, it's already like halfway done.
Yeah, it flies by. Even when you're watching it, I watched it live the last 2 weeks at 11:05 p.m.
It's
like,
refreshing as well.
Yeah.
We've got a bright color scheme in wrestling. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it's like, I watched it, and normally at 5 past 11, you're lagging, you're tired. I watched that, I can watch it the whole way through and remember everything that happened. Because it's just a really, really fun show. I would recommend it. It's free. It's free independent wrestling. Go check out NWA. I really, really rate it. So, Kyle, you went to Progress.
I did. Me and Geraint actually went to Progress,
Yes.
but I'm the only one here.
I feel like the main headline to talk about is Eddie Dennis bullying Lawson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that. Like, I wept tears of joy. Bloody hell, that was amazing.
It was, yeah. Lawson, who's been on the TWM talks in the past, got verbally destroyed by Progress World Champion Eddie Dennis.
I think everybody did, because Eddie came out and just interrupted Jim before he could even finish the "Don't be a dick" speech.
Yeah.
So we got to that, and then he berates all of the fans because they boo him 1 minute. Well, not me, because Eddie Dennis. And then within about, I want to say under 5 minutes, half the crowd are cheering him, so he calls them fickle, and then proceeds to talk about how he's had this grand master plan, which paid off at Ali Pali.
Yeah, I love it. It's a tremendous, like, it's a really good planned storyline. Like, everyone was so happy when FSU reunited. Little did we realise that it wasn't Friends Stand United. It was fuck shit up.
Yeah, he said that they said, like, even in the promo, that they'd had this planned, like, since Alexandra Palace.
For
like,
almost a calendar year.
Yeah, but during that whole promo, pre-show, I should mention, like, a lot of us, like, went to chat to Eddie and we told him, like, that he had us on the edge of our seats the whole time, like, making us emotional. We had a big cry at his, like, retirement, like, when it happened.
Yeah.
And Lawson, being front row, got verbally berated because Eddie said in his promo, people cried, "Yes, even you, Christopher."
So didn't even just say in general, genuinely called him out, not by last name, first name called him out.
It was very much Eddie has dipped into, like, his old teacher roots, and it was just like story time has now turned into detention time.
That's brilliant. I love that. The other big thing to note from this, I love that our main headline from Progress was, our friend got bullied by the world champion. The other thing to note is Ginny fucking Havoc.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. But, like, we can, like, dip into that in a few seconds, I think. Let's talk about, like, some of the other goings on that happened.
Is it because I jumped past Pretty Deadly and you want to talk
You
about...
did, and I really want to talk about Pretty Deadly.
They are great. They defeated the Young Guns in Manchester. It looks like they are pushing these two as maybe the future of the Progress
But
tag
it was
division.
really nice to see Young Guns as well, like, on the Progress chapter. Ethan Allen having come back from injury, and in, like, Manchester, where both of these guys are from, and they are a great tag team, so hopefully they'll be in Progress in the future as well.
We also had the first defense of the Progress Pro-Yes title as Paul Robinson defeated Travis Banks by attempted murder.
Well, I think Trav was the one to attempt murder first. It just didn't pay off for him because a lot of, like, Kiwi Crushers, a lot of curb stomps that didn't work. Trav gets the upper hand, decides randomly, well, maybe not, maybe it's a bit premeditated, to take the entire canvas off the ring in one corner and then pulls the mat. So, well, we get finishers on the boards underneath the ring.
I do love that as a spot. It's one of my favourite spots in wrestling when they do the stuff on the boards.
It's great and it's lethal. Robbo gets the upper hand, curb stomp, Trav is out, and then
my boy Teeks nuts
TK
Travis
Cooper.
Banks, shows him who's the boss.
TK Cooper, like, pranks us all, kind of. Possibly not.
pranked bro, I headbutted Travis Banks.
No, but he had us all believing that the trip was fine. The whole trip may be fine, but possibly Travis Banks is no longer in that trip.
Yeah, it's like the trip is fine, just the trip is now without the thing that made it not fine.
Travis Banks did not keep his hands and legs inside the ride.
At all times. Daniel Luna defeated Tony Storm, and Daniel Luna... did she go for the 450 this time?
She did not. We got the frog splash instead.
And she still landed on her knees.
It was still a bit of an awkward landing.
By the way,
Back to
we're
the
not the
legs.
only ones that mentioned this now. it's now canon because Schadenfreude and friends, when they're announcing the participants for the battle, Schadenfreude Battle Royale program.
Battle Royale. Hit and miss 450.
Yeah, one of it is a hit and miss. So we're not the only ones that noticed. We're not being mean. It is now canon that a 450 is a bit shonky.
Yeah.
Danny
Luna gets a lovely win.
She's going to face Miko.
Tony, no, hang on. It was set up. We think she's going to face, like, Mako. That's, yes, I will say, like, the way that it is meant to be pronounced. But Tony basically gave her the biggest endorsement possible because she said that even herself being beaten doesn't happen very often, and now thinks that if anybody can beat Mako Satomura, why not Danny Luna?
Danny Luna's can get kicked in the head and beaten inside like 7 minutes at the Camden show.
I really hope that it doesn't happen because this, like, if we thought the match with Jordan was star making, this could be the next thing to, like, put her on the rise.
Yeah, maybe she'll hit the 450 correctly.
We can only hope. But, bigger moment. Tony starts cutting the most emotional promo that I think I've ever seen Tony cut. Because it's normally about, like, I'm going to beat you. But this time, she talks about all the things that, like, she's lost in her life, but she's not lost the support of the fans. And then, weird promo video. We had all seen the teasers on the Progress Twitter. And then we see the words, "The King is dead." Why the hell is Pat coming out? But, long live the Queen. And the next time the lights come up, Ginny Havoc is in the ring. Looking pretty fly, might I add.
Oh yeah, like the red boots and red top with the mask made her look A, like female Satan, and B, fly as fuck.
Genuinely, it's fashionista meets like demonic assassin turned up to 11.
Fashion Illuminati.
Fashion.
Fashion. Yeah, she stared down Tony Storm, so looks like we're getting
no punching, no kicking, just staring.
So we're getting a run back of Tony versus Ginny, it looks like.
But I really liked this when I was there because not only have we got the rise of the new like Progress female in Danny Luna, we've still got the old guard. Yes,
this is true. We also had TK Cooper defeating Roy Johnson. And then Travis Banks chased TK Cooper out of the building because the trip.
Can I just mention, like, during this?
Yeah.
We heard, like, Roy Johnson pounced TK Cooper out the ring, and he didn't catch apron, get tangled up in the ropes, and we heard the biggest thud as 6-foot Samoan man hits floor.
Head first. No, not head first. He hit his head, didn't he? Because he was busted.
He's got, like, a massive cut on the side of his head, bruising as well. Get well soon, TK. We really like you.
Ilya Dragunov defeating Cara Noir.
The others aren't here. Can I discuss how in love I am with this? Because if Mike was here, I would probably get murdered.
Yeah, no, you were very, very excited about this. I did like the photo of Ilya Dragunov looking at Cara Noir being like, yes, impressive, well done.
No, genuinely, this is like one of my Progress like matches of the year.
I've heard good things.
More than anything else, like, we know that like both these guys are very intense performers, and it was like balls to the wall from the get-go, to be fair.
Yeah. I've heard you need to scope out on Progress on Demand.
Yeah, sorry, I need to say this before I forgot. There was a moment that during both of it, they were back-to-back. Then, for some reason, their hands intertwined, and it was, oh, lovely friends, before the beating began. But in that same moment, like, I have to mention this because he said, like, put it in the podcast, make sure that, like, you mention me. Geraint suggested Cara Noir, Ilya Dragunov, tag team.
Just the most intense tag team of all time.
It would genuinely be something that you would never expect as well, because Cara and Ilya definitely not the same kind of thing.
Torpedo Swanskow.
Very, very Torpedo Swanskow. But they're both very aggressive, intense performers, and that kind of style works. So you put those two guys together, who knows what can happen.
Speaking of tag teams, the Progress World Tag Team Champions, Ireland! Exclamation point.
Ireland versus Liverpool by way of Blackpool strike.
Jordan Devlin and Scotty Davis, they defeated the Grizzled Young Veterans to kind of put a stamp on their title reign.
In my favourite kind of ending ever, I'm not going to lie. Gibson and Drake going for that Doomsday that they do. Devlin counters it into a Spanish fly from the top of Gibson's shoulders. And Gibson thinks that, like, they've won it because he's just, like, in the ropes, not looking at it. The pinfall gets counted. He takes the mic from Jim, announces themselves as 4-time champs. Jim takes it back and just basically says, nah, we're still the champs, mate.
I check that out. That's really, really funny.
It's great.
Starcave also happened this weekend. We're going to have a review out on twm.news this week from Paige, so please go check that out. I've seen
We'll also have a wake, I think, because Captain Cuddles.
Oh yeah, Captain Cuddles, RIP. He died as a Chief Deputy Dan yeeted him off a cliff as they face Club Tropicana. Big Guns Joe is the new Breed champion. He defeated Tika Cooper and Brady Phillips. We went...
Big Guns Joe.
Sorry,
Big Guns Joe, also raffle host sensation from Attack a couple of weeks ago.
Speaking of Attack, we were at Live at the Dome last Wednesday. It was a very, very good show. You had a very emotional match from Nico Angelo and Chris Brooks, where Nico won his roster spot in Attack Pro Wrestling. And
didn't really win the roster spot, more got to remain than things.
And also, Chris Brooks did legitimately try to kill Nico on several occasions.
Oh, there was a lot of yeeting.
Also, hopefully Shay's okay, because Shay got KTFO in the main event.
He actually got himself injured hand, minor concussion. Can I also mention one thing?
Yeah?
Santos, Connor Mills.
Murder.
Connor Mills, what you doing? Like, attacking the law. Well, I'm really excited to see where this goes, because we know Connor Mills hates the originals. Santos isn't an original. What are you planning on, mate? You've just got Damo angry now.
Yeah. I'm intrigued where this is going to go with that. I'm very, very intrigued.
It's a complete different dynamic.
Also, Curtis Chapman is just the best thing ever.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we love him for his music alone, and when you've got that, you've got it made.
Because he was in a scramble with... I'm trying to remember the people in the scramble. Joe Nelson. Joe Nelson...
Baliana Key.
You remember that? You remembered his name. He was really good.
I'm happy with that. Chris even put him over on Twitter, so I'm hoping that we do see more of him.
He's
somewhere.
An Indian professional wrestler that wrestled primarily in Japan, and he's very, very good.
He's on excursion.
You had him. You had who else? Was it Mike Bird? No, yeah, Mike Bird.
Yeah, Bird was in there.
Bird. Who else was in that scramble? Elijah. Yeah, I think that's about it.
No, there was one more, but I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember.
6 people.
It'll come to us eventually. Also, I saw Warren Banks for the first time. He wrestled Mambo, and Warren Banks is very good.
Warren Banks was on the phone.
He was on the phone. Chuck Mambo needed to stop interrupting his phone call. Can I give you a true story? And I think you'll genuinely laugh out loud at this.
Yeah, go for it.
At my shoot job, working in a school, a bunch of the kids were running around arresting the teachers. So one of the kids, like this little girl, about 6 or 7, grabbed hold of my arm, and I kept basically just doing like Zack Sabre Jr. Colt Cabana style moves to get out of them grabbing my arm. So you know what I did eventually. You know what I did.
Please say you didn't.
I did. She grabbed my arm. I put my pinky and thumb out and went ring ring. Ring, ring.
Oh my god.
It's the phone, answer it. And she answered it. I went, I'm out of your wrist lock, and then walked off.
Matty Mambo, why not?
Oh, I used a Chuck Mambo move to get out of a kid trying to arrest me in the playground.
I think that's genuinely the best thing you've ever told me.
I genuinely enjoyed it. It was really funny. I'm going to use more Mambo things. Just good Mambo, not heel Mambo. I won't hit people with 2x4s.
Turtle splash, why not? Just a frog splash thingy.
It's another Attack show this weekend. My favourite show of the year, Goosebumps, is this week, and they've announced 2 matches for this. South Wales Subculture, the team of Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan West, are going up against the Lost Boys.
And if you don't think that'll bang, then you are absolutely incorrect.
Yeah, is it Rufio and Joe Nelson, isn't it?
It's Rufio and Little Joe, and Little Joe and Mandrews is something I've wanted to see in the same ring, so hope it...
He does Joe Nelson reminds me of a young Mandrews, so...
It's for floppy hair. But hopefully we will get a lot of interaction between those two, because it's something I've really wanted to see for a while.
Also, we're getting Chris Brooks versus Curtis Chapman, which Chris Brooks responded with, "Oh, for fuck's sake," when they got announced.
In Chris Brooks' last attack match of the year before he heads over to Japan once again.
Yep, he's going to be heading over there. So, and also Curtis says he's got a really, really good costume for Goosebumps. I'm hoping
he's a gamer. I hope he's come out as an Angry Bird or something.
I'm hoping it's Bread. After he demanded
after Bread Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, after that and him and them demanding someone to eat a whole loaf of bread to win a Schadenfreude.
Do you reckon that, like, when Brooks goes over to Japan now, he and Kojima are just gonna, like, point at each other doing the Spider-Man
Bread Club's
thing?
finally a tag team. Yes, I'm all for it. I'm gonna say this, but it's a bit of sad news. Mark Davis, one half Aussie Open, has announced that the extent of his knee injury, injured his knee over 2019 Battle Los Angeles weekend, and he's announced that he's ruptured his MCL and torn his ACL, so he's going to be out for a considerable amount of time. So obviously we wish a speedy recovery to Mark.
It's a massive shame, but keep him on your shows. He's a great talent.
And also, when I put the news up, I put a link to his merch. I think it's Dunkzilla, but Dunkzilla merch at BigCartel.com. Dunkzilla merch.
Support the guy doing what you can, like. Yeah. Even if it's like small doses.
Definitely. What I am going to end on, I'm going to end on a lighter note. I saved this because it generally is one of my favourite things ever. They were talking about stuff on Progress. Cause, actually, forgot to mention this. Congratulations to Matt Richards, who's now the... has been announced as the third member of Creative and going to be the new ring announcer for Progress going forward post Chapter 100, which is awesome to see. Congratulations. Obviously, friend of the show. He's been on the show before. But a conversation appeared between him, Mad Man Manson, Progress, and Drake Maverick, and I saved Mad Man Manson's booking ideas.
I don't think I've seen this.
Right, so I'm going to read it all out. It's just, yeah. First of all, the big things that are written down are Mad Man Manson, positive energy, and profit.
Right.
I'm going to go round, then I'll end with the middle bit. So, the top bit is Paul Robinson versus Rampage Brown.
Which would bang.
But both of them are in drag. This ties in with the popularity of RuPaul's Drag Race, but add sharks to feel more inclusive.
Wait, hang on. Why are we adding sharks? I mean, there's already enough blood in the water between drag queens.
To make them feel more inclusive. Joel Allen gets a run as heavyweight champion. Good for merch, like Joel Wigs, Joel Tees, cheap printing because he has contacts.
Hang on, did I hear Joel Wigs?
Yeah.
Why is Suplex not on that already?
And then he just wrote down, it writes itself, why didn't Jim think of this already? Lazy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Dave Mastiff punching different animals.
Can we get Dave Mastiff in the ring with a boxing kangaroo? Can we get Dave Mastiff in the ring with the boxing kangaroo from the Broken Universe?
What? But George? Is it George? What? No. Was it Muhammad Ali? I can't remember which one it was now.
I don't even remember.
Clone Chikara, but make her one not from London. Then it turns out to be that Candy Floss. Not sure why. And then he's just wrote down tag team, Ashy, weak slut drops, and weave as fuck. I don't know.
Weave as fuck.
Unboxing Live 2020. Twist, the crowd are all in boxes. Note, drill air holes.
Do we have to bring our own box?
I asked that. That one's not been confirmed yet. Then it's a picture of a man with horns saying, if you don't accept me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And then he just wrote down, segment where Ligero shares his feelings and apologises for things.
Oh my god, I'm not gonna lie, that probably sounds like how Shay joined the Cabal.
Then the Geezers return, but it was something to do with Brexit. Get this booked before October 31st.
Just, like, I can imagine Sebastian having a live mic again, and just Briley immediately shutting it off. So,
and then, this one is probably the most controversial thing that's written down there. More Roy Johnson, but he's in blackface to shake things up. And make a political point. Get it covered by Nigel Farage on LBC. And then he's just written down body guy, everything patterned underneath. Everything patterned was on this weekend as well, by the way. There's a review coming out from Peter Barnes, who was there, and he took Baby Barnes to her first ever wrestling show, which was lovely.
Yay!
And then my particular highlight is Will Ospreay suspended above the ring for a whole show will be released when crowd get quiet.
I was gonna say, that just sounds like medieval times where you just file abuse at your victims.
just the best.
Do we poke him with a stick halfway through to make sure he's still awake?
I love them just having break Ospreay In case of crowd lol.
Why do I think that like it would be an even like more sensational idea? You can imagine like giving like Eddie like Progress champion right now just a stick and treating him like a pinata or something. Well, it's like, to break the osprey, you must get the candy out.
If anyone's going to be a pinata, it'd be Ligero because stereotypes. So
that's a bit much.
And to close this week's The Indie Wrestling Show, if you want to get in touch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all at TWM Wrestle. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, TuneIn, YouTube, Podbean, wherever else you get your pods. TWM.news, you can check out our reviews of Starcave, Progress, Chapter 95, and everything pattern done by Paige, Day, and Peter, respectively. There'll be loads of stuff just going up. We got a Brit Rest Rugby 11, or Rugby 15, sorry. Don't get that wrong, I'll annoy the Welsh lot.
Not me, I don't really care.
Written by Tom, so make sure you check that out at TWM.news. Kyle, social medias.
Social media, at your boy _KJ, because I have nothing else to plug. But while we're here, also follow Matt Davis, just because. Support the guy.
At Dungzilla Davis, if you want to follow him. I'm at MattyID. I'm going to plug one thing. Go on to TWM.news, click on the shop and go buy some of our new merch. We've got loads of new merch. You've heard the adverts.
We've got some merch. Go buy our merch.
We've got loads of, like, you've heard the adverts on every podcast for the last 2 weeks. Go buy some merch. There's going to be new stuff going up.
Us.
We may have some AEW coloured style shirts coming out, mainly because George has not shut up about having AEW coloured style shirts going out. So they will be up very, very soon this week on the merch page on our Teespring. But you can just go onto TW.news and click on the shop tab. Right. This has been the Indie Wrestling Show for this week. Go and enjoy some independent wrestling. I am going to be at Attack Pro Wrestling this Sunday.
I will also be.
I may go to Seoul. I haven't decided yet.
I'm debating it. It depends whether I can afford it.
I'm generally considering going to Seoul on Friday. I'm not sure. It
would be refreshing.
It might be on a whim because the Woke Queens are there. Who are the new Pro Wrestling Eve Tag Team Champions? Congrats to them, by the way. Mainly because their entrance in Eve is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. Also, I've got Chaos on Saturday, which is another thing.
Yeah, lovely. Go enjoy some independent wrestling. There's loads out there, and we will be back next Wednesday.
Bonsoir, bitches.